Hello, welcome to my channel. Thanks for stopping by. I already filmed a newborn favourites back when I was pregnant with Nova. So if you haven't watched before, I feel like I always say this, but if you haven't watched before, I've got a little boy called Jet, who is 2.5, and a little girl, Nova, who is 8, almost 9 months. So when I was pregnant with Nova, I filmed a newborn favourites video, and that was kind of everything that I remembered I'd liked having with Jet and that I was kind of prepping and buying to be ready for Nova. Now that I've actually had Nova and kind of lived out those newborn months a bit more recently, I thought I would do another video of what we really did use and what was kind of a genuine favourite. First up, it's got a cowpole stain, apologies. This sleeping bag, I Love to Dream 50/50 swaddle, which I'll explain in a second. We got it from Cheeky Rascal's website. It's great for many reasons, which I will tell you now. So first of all, it zips up from the bottom or the top. So if you're changing a nappy and they're already in it, you can zip up and just take their legs out, which is really helpful. Because I found when Nova was a newborn, we were changing her nappy throughout the night because she was just weeing that much, or she often did like a middle of the night poo, which was very annoying. So obviously you want to be changing them in a way that disturbs them the least, so that's really helpful. Then it also has this, which I didn't know for ages what it actually was, but it's for if they're in this in the car, and the car seat strap can go through there, and then you can just unzip from the bottom, the car straps can come through and they can be strapped in but still in their swaddle. What's great about this, I've put one side on to show you and one side not. So it's a 50/50 swaddle, which just gives you the perfect options, because obviously before you have your baby, you don't know how it's gonna go. So I was up for swaddling Nova, but she ended up being a thumb sucker from really little, and so swaddling just wasn't practical because she obviously wanted her thumb. So this is great. So basically, you can have it like this, so they're in it with their little hands up by their head, which I think is kind of the most natural position that they like to lie in. They like having their hands up by their face. So you can have them like that, or you just unzip it, and then it's like this. And it's just like a normal sleeping bag, and they can have their arms out. So Nova had it like this with her arms out. So this is actually another thing we got from the Cheeky Rascals website. This actually we were kindly sent as a gift. It's by a brand Isme. It's got these really nice thick straps that go over your shoulders. So you put your arms through here, and then it has this thick waistband as well. So I have quite a bad back, so I need a baby carrier that's gonna really support my hips and waist rather than it all being just across your back. I need to kind of like have the weight kind of distributed evenly. So it clips up at the back, and then these two is actually possible as well, which is good to put it on yourself, because it's got the feel of like a wraparound baby wearing sling, but just a bit easier to do because obviously it all clips. So you just cross it over, and then these two bits come around the side, and then you just tighten them. Oh, I feel like an air steward. And tightens, and then the baby, stand up. So it's around your waist, and then the baby sits in here, and then also this, you can clip up to cover their little head if they're maybe sleeping or it's just a bit chilly and you want them to be covered. You clip this up, or you can clip it down, and yeah, crosses over at the back. I just found it really, really comfy, really practical, really easy to put on myself if I was on my own with the children. And I found I wore Nova a lot in the first few months because obviously I had Jet as well, so you're running around after him. It just felt like the most practical way for Nova to still be getting time with me, just being nice and snuggled in, but me also being able to have kind of both hands free to run around after Jet. It also comes with a little booster pouch that can go in there for when they're really, really teeny newborn. So it does really cover all ages. Next up is one that I wouldn't have necessarily thought of for a newborn, but I think just helps you be prepared in the best way you can, and that is a breast pump. If you do decide to breastfeed, sometimes in those first few weeks, your supply is being quite sporadic and it hasn't quite fallen into a rhythm, and I found once your feeding is really kind of established, your supply is then really established. You feel the letdown, like you feel the milk come down into your boobs. It's really bizarre, kind of in the like halfway point between feeds. So if you're feeding every 3 hours, kind of hour and a half in, I'd feel my boobs fill. It was really bizarre. But sometimes that hasn't quite found its rhythm yet. And so sometimes basically what I'd find is Nova wasn't ready to feed for quite a while, and my boobs would just feel full of milk. They'd start getting quite painful. So I'd use this and just express a little bit, like not necessarily a full feed, but just express a little bit just to relieve my boobs until Nova needed feeding. You have to be a bit careful because the more you feed or the more you express, the more milk you produce. So I just expressed a little bit just to kind of take the pressure off. Also a lot, Nova only ever fed from one side. She tended to be full after one side. So then often I would maybe then pump the other side just so they felt nice and even. This pump is from Pumpables. It's a mum run company, and you can tell because they've really thought of everything, and it's just it's a woman's design. It's very clever. So it can be a double pump. You plug it in there. There's a wire that goes from there to the mains, and then it charges. If you've charged it, this is all you need to take with you. I think its battery life is about 12 hours. So one time I had a spa day with my sister when I was feeding, and I hadn't taken Nova with me, so I had to just pump and pour away the milk while I was away from Nova that day. So I literally just took this in my handbag, and it didn't feel really intrusive, and then I could just pop into the toilet. Didn't need to find a main supply. I could just pop into the toilet and just quickly pump a little bit. I've actually got a review on my blog with more info, which I will also linking everything left, right and centre. But it really honestly is a great pump. So then also here you can plug in a second one of these, which it comes with. So it comes with 2 of these and 2 bottles and everything. So you can be pumping both boobs at the same time for efficiency. These come in 3 different sizes, so it fits all different boob shapes and sizes. Next up is a bath seat. Again, it's another thing that we didn't have with Jet. He had his baths in the sink for ages, for months I think, bless him. But with Nova having a bath with her brother, I just feel like she needed that extra safety and security, rather than just having her laid down flat in the water, you know, kind of ready to be squashed. It's been really helpful having her in a bath seat just slightly raised. So it's from when they're little, so they can still be lying right back, and then their legs go around here. And then actually once she was sitting but still a bit unstable, she still was in it and actually would just sit upright with her legs around here, and it just still kind of like held her bottom quite nicely. So it actually lasted longer than I thought it was going to. Next up is a little cuddly toy. Jet wasn't really bothered at all by soft toys, but Nova loves Mr. Fox. When I found out we were having a baby, it was just one of those things that I really romanticised in my head, that your baby would have this little toy that they'd love and be really attached to, and that's what's happened with Mr. Fox, and I just love it. I love that it's something that I know will always make her happy. If she's just a bit grumbly and a bit grouchy, I give her Mr. Fox and she just gets so excited and chats to him and hugs him, and when she sucks her thumb, she like holds him and sucks her thumb, and oh, it's just the sweetest thing. And it's really sweet actually as well to gauge their growth because she's got photos of her and Mr. Fox right from day one, and you see her start off basically the same size as him, and then she gets bigger and bigger and he looks smaller and smaller. So it's not really an essential, but I'd say it's a sentimental essential. Just really nice knowing that they've got this little toy that they've had from birth. So next up is 2 different sleep aids. Oh, actually I've got a 3rd sleep aid. I am all about the sleep aid. So first up is You and the Sheep. I feel like this guy's the more kind of classic. You've probably heard of him. I think I've talked about him before. He's a great guy. So this You and the Sheep, actually this is the new You and the Sheep. This is hot off the press, people. So come here for all the latest news. This is the new You and the Sheep. You can now take out his insides, which is lovely. You can now fully take out this battery pack, which means he is now machine washable, which is actually genuinely great because our old Ewan was a little bit scabby. The old one you controlled on the legs, this one you control in here, how bright the light is and the volume, and then you just generally press his tummy for different sounds. There's waves and a heartbeat and some music. This new one is like responsive, so if the baby starts crying, he turns himself back on. You can also turn that off. I found it didn't really work for us now that the babies are a bit bigger, because often Jet or Nova will kind of cough in their sleep and turn over, and then he was turning himself back on, which I just felt like was wasting the battery. And then this guy is, I think he's called Percy, or maybe I just made that up. He's a penguin, and I'm pretty sure he's called Percy the penguin, but maybe we just call him Percy the penguin. And he's from the Grow company, and he's really lovely. So he has his arms and his legs all do something. So this leg does the light, and the light does different brightnesses. Then this is volume, different volumes, and then off. And then this decides what it is you're playing. So there's heartbeat, water, music, more water. or the womb maybe, I think that's the womb, and then volume, and then off. And he is also responsive, but you can also turn it off so that he's not responsive. But it's lovely, and then both of them just have a little strap so you can hang it from the cot. It has actually as well been really useful having both, because Nova was born when Jet was still quite little. He still had you and the sheep in his cot, so then it's nice having the penguin, Percy, for Nova as well, so they don't have to be sharing, because at first they were in separate rooms. They're now in together, so it's less essential. And actually now they're in together, we often use this, which I think is Tommy. Yeah, Tommy, and it's a start. Again, you can hang it from the cot. What I actually do is plonk it right in the middle of the room on the floor, and it plays some music and has a light that shines on the ceiling. And it just plays for 10 minutes or 5 minutes. And just plays there's a few different nursery rhyme choices, and Jet loves it. Now when he goes to bed, he says, pictures on the ceiling, pictures on the ceiling. A lot of the other essentials I'm not going to talk about again, because there are some things that I found I have used again that I already said about in the first video, like the sleepy head. I absolutely swear by the sleepy head. A lot of questions actually that I get about the sleepy head is, did I let the baby sleep in it at night or just nap in it? And I 100% let them sleep in it at night. They both slept in their sleepy head from day one through the night, right up until they're about 8 or 9 months. And I just swore by it. Both babies slept really well in the night, and I feel like I really do think it's because of the sleepy head, because they just looked so comfy. And both babies, right from day one, slept on their side with their arms up by their head, on their side. You do what you feel comfortable with. I know some people get a bit nervous about that, but for me, I could tell they were completely fine. They were right next to me in my snooze pod, kind of next to me crib. That's a good essential actually, a 3-sided crib, because with Jet I just had a normal swinging crib, and I found it really annoying with recovery. Like, all your stomach muscles haven't come back yet, and my back was quite sore from lifting babies and whatnot, and so having to kind of turn and properly get out of bed to bring him in to feed him in the night I found really annoying. So that was one thing with Nova I really wanted, and it really did make all the difference. So Nova, I had the 3-sided, which meant when she woke up I could literally just kind of roll, feed her and roll her back, and it was a game changer. So she was in her sleepy head. And then also the Nook, which I talk about all the time. I just flipping love a Nook. Check out my other video if you don't know what a Nook is for more information. And yeah, there's lots of other things I mentioned in that video that I still did use this time round, so check out that one for more bits. I think that's pretty much it. Oh, I can hear Nova waking up, so that is my cue. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely week, and please do subscribe. It means a lot. It just helps me know that you do actually like us. You're not just passing through. But yeah, have a lovely week, and we'll see you soon. Peace out.